It looks like AEW's backstage situation just went from bad to worse, as coming off of last week's news of CM Punk's unhappiness with the company and Hangman Adam Page, we now are getting reports of friction with multiple groups of talent. Today, most notably, Sammy Guevara and Eddie Kingston. This has been chronicled by multiple insiders, including Fightful and PW Insider, that there has been this friction between Sammy Guevara and Eddie Kingston. They had a match that was supposed to happen at All Out. That, it looks like, has been scrapped, according to these reports. And we heard the news coming out of last night that Eddie Kingston had confronted Sammy Guevara. He had been suspended for that confrontation. The reports were that he swung, but Sammy Guevara actually just chimed in and kind of set his side of the story straight. This is according to Fightful, and this is a quote from Sammy Guevara. As a professional, you communicate things that you don't want to be said, like other people I've had programs with, or I've been in programs with. I have worked with Matt Hardy, Chris Jericho, and others, and I did communicate of what I didn't want to be said in this angle, and Eddie didn't. But Eddie did not do the same. Eddie did not mention to me or the coaches or TK or anyone in AEW what he did not want said. Now, just looking back for a second, there was this thought that in a promo that didn't end up airing from Rampage one week, that Sammy Guevara called Eddie Kingston fat, basically, and Eddie Kingston had a huge problem with it, which he will go into detail in just a minute. But the reports we got from that was that Eddie Kingston did not appreciate that, and that is what led to this confrontation between the two. The report goes on to say, so after Ty and my match with Sky Blue and Dante, I cut a promo on Eddie, insulting Eddie and the fans as a heel, which I know the thing that everyone loves to do is hate me and Ty, so I'm the perfect person to play the a-hole character for Eddie to ultimately beat at All Out. I see what people say online about Eddie and his appearance. He went on to say that the Sammy Guevara character, he played that in such a way, who legitimately shames Eddie for how he looks can go to hell. It's the same for people who shame me for being too small. Sorry, got flustered there for a second, but there you go. Sammy Guevara kind of saying that I'm playing a character, and I said these things in a character, and anyone who actually means this crap can go to hell. So Sammy would go on to say that the Sammy Guevara character, I could be the physical person playing that person, and Eddie can shut that person up at All Out, is what he said. Went on to say, but Eddie did not do the professional thing and communicate to me, which if he had, I never would have said it, because the last thing I want to do is hurt someone for real. So after the promo, I get to the back, and Eddie's flipping out, yelling, you can't call me fat, over and over again. As I'm trying to walk down the stairs in Gorilla, making a big scene, people get in between us. Eddie tries to pie face me, and he more like touches my face. It was weird, and everyone backs everyone up. It was unfortunate because this promo was on a taped show and could easily have been edited, which it ended up being anyways. I know this isn't Eddie's first time being aggressive and getting out of control backstage. I know he had to do some kind of anger management after this whole thing. This whole thing was very unnecessary, but it is what it is. Live and learn, I guess. On to the next one we go. So a lot of things coming out of this. So this clears up Sammy Guevara's side of the story. By the way, Eddie Kingston, prior to this, did come out and say that he was in the wrong and he didn't handle things in the best way, and he apologized for that. But this was Sammy Guevara's side of the story. There were a lot of people and a lot of reports coming out that Sammy Guevara had fat-shamed Eddie Kingston backstage, and it was out of malice, and he, I think, is combating those reports on top of this. And the real interesting part about all of this, by the way, great reporting here from Sean Ross Sapp. The most interesting thing to me was the fact that Sammy Guevara basically laid out the original plans that were supposed to happen at All Out right there in this message to Sean Ross Sapp and the fans. He basically said that I was supposed to be the heel who got his ass kicked and got beat at All Out. That was the entire premise of this. That to be the guy that Eddie Kingston beat at All Out. And that all is now not happening. So this combined with the news that we heard of Thunder Rosa and friction between her and Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, I mean, the thing is, we knew it was never going to be just sunshine and rainbows in AEW forever. It was never going to be that. And honestly, if we think that it was that from the beginning, come on, we're really kidding ourselves. People who work together have disagreements. People who are around each other professionally or personally, whatever, they're going to have disagreements. And there's just going to be people at your job that you don't like. It's how it works. What you don't want to have happen is people act in an unprofessional way that makes the company look bad, makes the person who's doing it look bad, and honestly rubs off badly against the other people involved. You don't want to have that happen, and we're seeing more publicly these things happen in AEW. That veil of almost protectivity, for not that word. That veil of I almost want to say innocence or whatever. That veil has been completely lifted now. Like you were seeing Sammy Guevara not only admit that this happened, but admit that this was the original plan for All Out. You're seeing that CM Punk publicly on a live TV like called out Hangman Adam Page and brought a little bit of that real backstage heat out there in real time on television. Like these types of things didn't used to happen in AEW, and if they did, like we never were privy to them. But the issue is we're becoming more and more privy to them, and I think that part of that goes back to this thing of AEW, the honeymoon period that the wrestlers had with AEW, that the fans had with AEW. It's gone. You are able to critique the company. You're able to critique the wrestlers, and that whole "we're all in this together" thing is kind of slowly chipping away. And we know that Tony Khan had a speech that he gave the other day on Dynamite to kind of rally the troops almost and address some of the problems, the contract tampering problems, the backstage heat problems, the miscommunication that has allegedly happened. So it's an interesting time in AEW, interesting time backstage. We don't really need to be flies on the wall because we're already apparently getting a lot of this news from the wrestlers themselves. I think that's more generally a bad thing when the wrestlers are speaking this publicly about it. Not necessarily for them or to setting the record straight. I'm totally fine with people setting the record straight in public about those types of things. But I'm talking about for the company. Because you'd rather have, honestly, these things handled in-house and everyone be kind of mature and communicate with each other. But that doesn't seem to be happening. And I think it's a culture thing. And AEW's really got to fix it. They really do. Y'all let me know what you guys think, though, in the comment section below. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.